We're on Bayside Drive on Treasure Island. Sunday, September 29th, 2019. Underneath the ground was a burn pit where the Navy threw all its trash and burned the trash. We're standing on top of a very large pit. Can't see it, it's under the ground. When the Navy had the island as a naval base, back in 1941, they just bring all their trash out to this end of the island and dump it. The Navy buildings were on the other end of the island, in that direction. In about 1965, they graded the soil because they decided they wanted to build these buildings. And this is the 1200 series buildings. They didn't start building these till the 70s, the 1970s. The 1100 series, where Halliburton Court is, they built they started in about 1965. Those are the oldest buildings. But what they did was, do you know what CBs are? They're Navy tractors. They're the Navy maintenance building people. And they brought CB tractors in here and pushed all the soil around with all of the burn stuff in it. And the trouble is that when you burn things, it reduces it to its basic components, which are toxic chemicals. And they also threw stuff with radiation in it back here. So what you had was these tractors shoving around all this radioactive waste and these chemicals in this dirt. And then they just built these houses on top. I'm going to show you where they have found radiation on Bayside Drive. Bayside Drive is a story in itself. They found radiation and chemicals all over the street, and they're still finding it. Do you see that bench over there across the street? The silver bench? The kids get on that every morning and go to school. Let me zoom in on that bench. And if you look at the Navy maps, one of the radiological objects was found under that bench. And that was found in 2013. They dug that out. Now let's look at this lawn here. This lawn has been very pitted and uneven at various times because it sinks down because of all this loose dirt underneath. You know, it was a burn pit. The ground is very uneven, and you see the grass is like brown over here, and there's toxins underneath there, and it like kills the grass. So then I walked on this plot of grass many times because I knew somebody who used to live in 1201B, and right underneath this sidewalk, do you remember the name Gilbane? Okay, that's a contractor. I'm explaining this to Asia, who's standing here with me, being very quiet and listening patiently. And they had a little gizmo, which was like a little tractor. And it had a computer behind it that was being towed by the tractor. And that whole thing was called the towed array. And using that, they could find radioactive stuff in the soil. So they found a radioactive object right under that sidewalk, right there. The trouble was, this woman's children had sat on that sidewalk and played. So now they're sick. from probably radiation and chemical contamination from this burn pit. This burn pit went all the way back to the shore, back there. All over here. It was underneath that green area. And, I mean, it was huge. This little girl, probably as an infant, was sitting on the sidewalk playing and got sick. Two little girls, actually. And they're ill. They're both ill from this. So we're going to walk down here to 1203C. This whole townhouse is 1201. Then the next one over is 1203. 1203 is this townhouse down here. See where the riprap, the rocks are, and where the people are walking? Just beyond that car used to be a toxic cleanup zone. At the end of this street, where that gray car is, they had a tarpaulin fence, and the Navy isolated that area and said that the radiation was mostly back there. Well, that's a construct. That's fake. They tried to make people feel like it wasn't dangerous by saying that this radiation was isolated to particular areas. So 2 years ago, they took the fence down. They said the cleanup was over. After 25 years, and then recently, within the last couple of months, they found are radiological objects above danger levels outside that townhouse. That's 1203, and we'll walk to where they found it. One of the reasons for coming out here is to see the place where they dug it out of. So we're going to 1203B. See if there's any evidence.
And all they could put is warning signs.
Yeah, right.
Close dog.
Right.
To state to cause cancer.
Right, and that isn't even about the digs. So here's 1203B. Let's see if there's any. The 1203C is coming up. Yes, here we go. That's part of it. That dirt there is part of the dig. And all of these marks on the sidewalk are from the equipment that they used. And this is where they dug it up and took out the object. Asia, do you think it looks, there are people living there? Do we dare look in the windows?
There's people in there living.
Do you think?
Yeah. There's definitely people in there.
How do you know?
Because I can see furniture and lights on.
I want to point out to you this townhouse 1205 down here, because they actually moved people out of 1205 back in 2013 because they found radiation under that building. One of the families that lived in this building still lives on the island. Also, this building over here, 1222, is kind of creepy because that was behind the fence too, and nobody has ever lived in that building we're looking at the side of. It's 1222. People want to know why nobody ever inhabited that building, and we think it's because There was a lot of radiation under there, and the Navy just never told anybody. So this is Bayside Drive. We're gonna walk back, but you know Bayside Drive well, right?
Mm-hmm.
You drove.
I have a friend that stays over here.
Where?
She stays at 1220 Unit A.
I just want to point out for the camera, you were looking at Bayside Drive. You were looking at the houses on this street. I'm going to pan around slowly, all of it, so you can get a sense of where this is, because the townhouses on Treasure Island all look the same.
I feel like it was a dig here.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Well, 1203A. That was a dig. And the sidewalk's new. Did I get the number wrong? You know, I'll bet I got the unit letter wrong.
Because it looked like it could have been here for sure.
Oh. All right.
And those little lines.
And the sidewalk is new, the cement's new.
And it has an arrow straight.
I got this wrong.
It's this.
It's this one.
Because you can tell that they just redid this. Because the other sidewalks is like concrete looking.
But that has dirt dug out of it too. I wonder what that's all about.
Right. But that one is not that fresh like this one because you don't even really see the grass growing out of it yet.
You know what? I want to get a distance away and get the whole thing. Okay, we're gonna go back. Stepping back from this.
Yeah, this is definitely where the dig was.
The sidewalk is completely new cement. The grass has been taken out and removed on both sides of the sidewalk. But where they found it was underneath the front step. Because that's where the arrow goes down in the photograph, right under the step. All right here is where it was. We're standing right over the spot where they removed the radiological soil. And they told the people, well, not to worry, it was covered with cement.
Like that's gonna protect them.
Exactly, that's what they said. That's what they said when the Navy announced it.
That is so sad.
I want to meet these people.